Today is Monday, June 22nd. And today I want to continue to talk about purpose. And I don't think I can talk about our purpose in God without saying this. Our purpose is found in love. Okay, it shouldn't shock anybody that I'm saying that. I talk about love often in my sermons. A few of these videos have been centered on love. And anyone who has read the New Testament knows the importance of love. Jesus said that the greatest commandment is to love God with all my heart, strength, mind, and soul. And that the second greatest commandment is like it, to love my neighbor as myself. The Apostle Paul said that love reigns supreme, above even faith or hope. The Apostle Peter said that love covers a multitude of sins. And the Apostle John said, God is love. If there is purpose to be found in our God, we know that our purpose is found in love. However, we're so used to hearing this as Christians that I think we sometimes forget that not everyone in the world thinks that way. I'm not referring to the unbelieving world that treats selfishness as the highest virtue. I mean, if you get away from Christian influence, then there are many people in the world who say that there are virtues which are higher than love. For instance, the religion of Islam teaches that the highest virtue is obedience. Muslims say that what matters most is we keep the commands that God has given us. And certainly, obedience is important. Jesus said, if you love me, you will keep my commands. However, love is greater than obedience. Because I can be obedient, but not have love. I can keep every command God gave and not actually care about God or about my neighbor. But if I have love, then I also have obedience. Because if I love God, I will keep His commands. And if I love my neighbor, I will treat my neighbor the way God has called me to treat my neighbor. You cannot have love without that obedience. On the other hand, some Jewish scholars say that the greatest virtue is justice. What matters most is that we treat our neighbor fairly and equitably. And again, justice is important, but I think it has the same weakness as obedience. That is, I can have justice, but lack love. I can treat my neighbor fairly, but not care about my neighbor at all. However, if I have love, justice comes along with that. Perhaps the most interesting comparison is that to Buddhism. There's a teaching of the Buddha that is very similar to a teaching of Jesus. The Buddha once said, do not do to someone else what you do not want done to you. Of course, that's similar to the golden rule from Jesus. Do unto others as you would have them do to you. Certainly those commands are similar, but notice that they are also different. The command from the Buddha is to do no harm. Don't do to someone else what you don't want done to you. But I could keep that command and leave my neighbor entirely alone. I could keep that command and just lie in bed all day doing nothing. The call to love is deeper than that. It's about more than just avoiding my neighbor. The call to love is about more than not doing harm. I have to actively care about my neighbor. The call to love is a harder call because if I love someone, I risk getting hurt. The call to love is to put myself out there, and that makes me vulnerable. So love is risky. But is a life without love really worth living? Our God is love. And He's a God who calls us to love. He calls us to be in this world, but not of this world. To love the people of this world the same way that He has loved us. And since God is love, if we are to find a purpose in anything in this life, it's a purpose that must be found in love. May God be with you, and I'll see you on Wednesday.